On deadline day during the summer of 2019, Arsenal got the left back that had been on our radar for the previous couple of seasons. Kieran Tierney, who at the time was the captain of his boyhood club Celtic, decided to come over to North London and put on the red and white of the Arsenal. Although he did have injury problems for a lot of his time in Arsenal, he was absolutely outstanding when he did play. Tenacious and hard-nosed defensively, with a trademark beautiful left-footed cross while storming up and down the left-hand side of the pitch all game long. He was at one time one of the best left-backs in the entire league. Skip forward until today, where Arsenal now have a minimum of 2 left-backs ahead of him in the pecking order, causing him to get little to no game time at all. He is now rumoured to be leaving the club, even potentially on loan to another top 4 side in Newcastle. In today's video, we are going to discuss what will happen with Kieran and why all of this unfolded the way it did. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Gunner Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, when Kieran arrived, we were in somewhat of a good spot. We had just gotten to the Europa League final in Emery's first campaign the year before, and there was a general sense of positivity around the club. When Kieran came in, and although most of his first season was injury-riddled, having played just 15 Premier League games that season, he was still really good and showed a lot of promise. Kieran was a great sense of hope for all of us Arsenal fans. And for the next 2 seasons, although somewhat injury-riddled, Tierney was our starting left-back. He had tons of really good performances in really big games. Arsenal fans, including me, even wanted him to be made club captain before the honours were given to Martin Odegaard. The best ability in football, however, is availability. Tierney didn't have one full season where he was completely healthy. And this could have potentially led Arsenal to make the move for Manchester City's left-back Alexander Zinchenko. I think it was a mix of the system that Mikel wanted to implement, but also I do think the injury problems played a big role in that move. This move, though, of getting Alexander Zinchenko, essentially relegated Kieran to the bench, and he had to make most of his appearances last season coming off the bench for like 10 minutes at a time to hold out a lead or to firm out a game. And when he did start, he was starting games in the Europa League. Now, also this summer that we've just had, with Arsenal buying Ajax as a Jurrien Timber, although he is now injured for the remainder of the season, it makes you start wondering, where will Tierney get his minutes? He doesn't clearly fit the system, and we've now got Timber, we've got Zinchenko, we've got Tomiyasu, we've got Kivior who can play there at the left back role. So where can Tierney get his minutes? Now, Kieran is an extremely solid defender, good leader, competent enough on the ball to hold down a starting role for any Big 6 team in the Premier League. So why has Arsenal seemingly nudged him out of the rotation? Well, I believe it all comes down to the system Mikel Arteta is now implementing. With Zinchenko, we can play him inverted when we have the ball, almost as a CDM when we're in possession. And although Zinchenko, truth be told, isn't the greatest defensively, when he is caught out possession, say by a counter-attack or by us losing the ball, you have guys like Gabriel and Saliba and Partey and now even Declan Rice who can close up, stop the counter-attack and patch up the wounds, if you could say that, right? Timber, like I said, although injured, when he is fit, he can play anywhere along the back line. He's a very solid defender and isn't quite as good on the ball as Zinchenko, but he's not far off from it, and you can kind of see the role that he was playing when he was fit. He was doing the exact same as Zinchenko, a little bit inverted, storming up and down the field. So this now leaves Tierney's skill set somewhat limited in our system and forces him to only get minutes when we're resting players for less important games or trying to hold on to a lead. So what do Arsenal do, right? I think we either sell him, say to a Newcastle for a good amount, or we keep him. I'm not in agreement with the rumoured loan to Newcastle. Now, I don't think that's going to happen at all. I don't see why Arsenal would want to loan out Kieran Tierney, especially to a team like Newcastle, who we could be competing for top 4 spots, or you never know what Newcastle may be competing for the title this season, right? I'd prefer to keep Kieran as a really good depth piece. Think about it, we have a lot of games this season, whether it's FA Cup, Capital One Cup, if it's still called that, Carabao Cup, sorry, that's what it's called now, Champions League, Premier League. I think the deeper we are, the more likely this squad, this Arsenal team, will be able to compete on all fronts and push in deep in all competitions. But with that being said, if Kieran does want to leave, if he thinks he's tired of coming off the bench, tired of, I don't know, the system, he wants to go be a starter everywhere, then we should look to sell him. We should not want to hold on to him. If you don't want to play for Arsenal, then you don't deserve to play for Arsenal. Now, Kieran is a very, very professional player. I think even if the right offer comes in and Kieran wants to leave and Arsenal, for some reason, reject the offer, I don't see Kieran kicking up about it, making a fuss over it, throwing a fit about it. I don't see that, right? But personally, I think if we're talking about what we can expect now from other teams for Kieran, I think, look, he's 26 years old. He's in his prime. And although it's quite public that Arsenal don't have a space for him in our team, I think we can still demand quite a decent amount of money. I think somewhere around 35 to 40 million pounds is a very fair price, I believe. But yeah, what will Arsenal do? I think Arsenal are going to sell him. I think his time with us has come to an end. And like I was talking about the systems, I just don't see him fitting in the system at all. He's tried it when he does come on for Zinchenko. He tries to be inverted, but it's just not the same. So I think if we can get an offer for around the 40 million price tag, I think we live and go. It allows us to balance the books for the summer. It allows us to potentially get one or two more signings, maybe. Don't know. But yeah, with all that being said, I would love to know what you guys think will happen with Tierney, and how do you feel about Tierney being rumoured to leave. And I'll see you guys in the next one.